Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to guide you through a really deeply compassionate journey. We're talking about rebuilding self-trust and finding somatic grounding after you've experienced an abusive or toxic relationship. I know firsthand how totally exhausting it is to constantly feel unsafe in your own skin. So, if you've been sitting there wondering why you still feel on edge even though you are completely out of harm's way right now, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to reclaim your internal foundation together. So let's start by addressing the exact silent struggle you might be facing right now. It's that persistent, draining hypervigilance that just kind of lingers long after you've escaped the toxicity. You know the feeling, right? You might be at a dinner party with people you genuinely like, and suddenly, out of nowhere, your chest tightens, your breath gets shallow, and your whole body goes cold when someone just tries to get close to you. Why does that happen? Why does your body act like it's under attack when you're literally surrounded by friends? All right, section 1, the weight of betrayal. First off, we really need to look at the invisible aftermath of gaslighting and abuse. Just look at this powerful quote from the Gabby Petito Foundation. It reminds us that losing your internal compass, it's not a character flaw, not at all. It's a very normal biological response to prolonged emotional stress. Rebuilding that trust, it doesn't happen by just flipping a switch or, changing your mindset. It actually takes time to heal your physical nervous system, and needing that time is absolutely not a failure on your part. Think about what actually happened during that relationship, when your perceptions are systematically denied by someone you love, when your very real concerns are constantly reframed as misunderstandings or you overreacting. Your gaslighter is actively dismantling your internal compass. That deep confusion you feel right now, that's a direct symptom of that manipulation. It's not a personal feeling. You leave the relationship wondering, wait, was it really that bad? Did I just misread things? It is completely understandable that you're questioning your own judgment right now. Moving to section 2. Honoring your survival instincts. Listen, your inability to trust isn't just you being cynical or bitter. It's actually a documented biological consequence of a specific relational injury, and it's known as betrayal trauma. See, when the person you depend on for safety is the exact same person causing you harm, your brain is put in an impossible situation. So it makes this brilliant protective move. Your mind figures out ways to suppress the reality of the betrayal, just so you can survive the relationship when you basically have no other options. And this perfectly explains why you can't just think your way into trusting again. Your body actually reads the room first through a process called neuroception. Your nervous system is constantly scanning faces, voices, and postures for threats, completely below your conscious awareness. Understanding neuroception completely removes the shame around hypervigilance. It proves your body isn't broken. It's just overly efficient at detecting perceived threats. Because of your past, it's been recalibrated to interpret closeness as danger. I actually want you to take a second right now and thank your nervous system. Seriously. What feels like deeply frustrating self-sabotage today was literally your armor yesterday. It kept you alive. Your threat detector isn't malfunctioning. It's actually working exactly as it was trained to. It was calibrated to keep you safe in a highly dangerous emotional environment. The thing is, it simply hasn't realized yet that it's allowed to update to your current safe reality. Now, recognizing the difference between adaptive discernment and trauma-driven distrust, that's the first step to rewiring those neural pathways. Healthy caution looks at actual evidence and updates when someone consistently proves reliable. Trauma-driven distrust, on the other hand, that's a global threat model. It's totally rigid. It assumes a warm colleague inviting you to lunch is, setting you up for failure, or a nice friend offering help definitely has some hidden manipulative motive. Okay, section 3, validating your own reality. To break free from the borrowed beliefs of a gaslighter, you've got to learn to actively confirm your own reality. And I want to give you full permission right now to stop pulling all your friends for advice as a way to rebuild your internal muscle. When self-doubt feels overwhelming, I want you to look at the historical patterns, not those blurry arguments. Ask yourself, did you feel calm or anxious? Were you supported or were you controlled? You know the answer to that. Start validating your own judgment. Evie Pompareyes really hits the nail on the head here. If you want to rebuild your instincts, you have got to stop inviting everyone else into the driver's seat of your life. When you constantly pull your friends and family for what you should do, you completely drown out your own voice. Every single time you make a small decision without asking for a second opinion, you are physically rebuilding a bridge back to yourself. You have to listen to yourself more. Section 4. The power of micropromises. So, Once we validate our reality, we can pivot to taking physical action. Self-trust is built brick by brick through the daily discipline of keeping your word to yourself. A lot of times we mistakenly think we need to magically feel confident before we can take action. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. Action creates the undeniable proof that builds the trust, which finally results in genuine, lasting confidence. Action is literally the antidote to the stagnation of trauma. Now, these micro-promises, they must be incredibly small so that failure is almost impossible. Things like waking up when your alarm goes off, taking a 20-minute walk, setting a tiny boundary, and just surviving the discomfort of doing so. That acts as a neurological rewiring tool. By visually accumulating these small daily habits, you prove to your brain that you're finally a reliable, safe foundation for yourself. You're replacing a whole history of broken promises with massive self-respect. Section 5. Somatic grounding and check-ins. Because this trauma lives in the body, we really have to utilize daily somatic practices. In fact, let's do a 10-second check-in right now. Take a breath, notice where your shoulders are. Are they hunched up by your ears? Name the tension without judging yourself for having it. And just honor that your body is simply trying to shield your heart. Practicing this simple grounding check-in empowers you to compassionately monitor your physical response to new connections. You cannot forcefully logic your way into vulnerability. You just can't. You can't tell yourself, hey, this person is nice, lower your guard. Your nervous system needs safe, repeated, positive exposures to discover that the threat level has actually changed. And that means giving yourself full permission to go incredibly slow. Rebuilding trust isn't a cognitive decision. It is a deeply somatic process that has to happen in the felt sense of your body first. And finally, Section 6, Safe Steps Toward Connection. Holding space for this both-and reality is huge because it removes the shame of recovery. It validates that you can be deeply terrified of receiving connection and simultaneously genuinely crave the supportive friend. It's incredibly common to want to call a friend when you're struggling, but to physically push them away when they actually try to get close. This isn't a contradiction. You are wary, and you want connection. Both are valid. Both are completely true. This step-by-step titration, it's how we manage the massive anxiety of receiving support. Start by trusting a coworker with just a small project. Watch what happens when they follow through. And when they do, don't just immediately move on. Take a deep breath, put your hand on your chest, and consciously tell your brain, we're safe in this moment. Let that positive evidence safely and physically land in your body. Trust is a really slow gradient. You do not need anyone else's permission to trust your own experience. And beautifully, you don't need closure or an apology from the person who hurt you to move forward. Reclaiming your foundation is a solo mission, and that is a profound point of empowerment, not a point of loneliness. Healing isn't about rewriting the past, it's about choosing to unapologetically believe in yourself in the present moment. Remember that the pain you survived was not designed to destroy you. It's here to reveal the incredibly resilient person you are actively becoming. You might have ignored red flags in the past. Forgive yourself for that. Those were painful lessons, not permanent life sentences. You aren't just repairing a broken foundation today. You're taking all of that hard-earned knowledge and upgrading it to an absolute fortress of wisdom. The person waiting on the other side of fear is incredible. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one final vital question to carry with you as you continue the beautiful, messy work of reclaiming your internal foundation. How will you prove to yourself today that you are finally safe enough to trust your own voice? Just take one small action today. Make one micro promise. Thank you so much for letting me join you on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.